men's final. Let's just get straight into it. What a match. What a tournament. Carlitos wins again.
Yeah, you know what? A 5-set win in the semis and a 5-set win in the finals. That's what you want for a final. You want 5 sets. Is an incredible match. I feel like Alcaraz came out, wins the first set, loses the second set. That third set there, he's serving for it. And kind of for the first time, really all tournament, I felt like he kind of had like a 10-minute mental lapse and kind of went away, but then got right back to it, dominated the fourth set, dominated the fifth set. I felt a little bad for Zverev with that second serve call. I don't know if you saw that. That would have put the match back at 2-2 in the fifth. But at the end of the day, Alcaraz was the better player, played incredible, and he's a deserving French Open champion.
Yeah, I think, look, we all, as tennis players feel sorry for that second serve call, but so many times stuff like that happens in tennis matches. You could go back maybe to the third set. Maybe something happened there where he could have, been up 2-1. Like, things happen. Certainly a bad call. But also, I don't know if you read my tweet, but I said electronic line calling. Hello, where are you? At the French Open. And, I don't know about you, Sam, but people kind of come back at you like, there's margin for error, la, la, la. And it's like, yeah, but guys, there's margin for error on human error too. But the difference is, and I feel with electronic line calling, there's no argument. It's just like, that's the machine's call. Get on with it. And I think if the call had come, for example, by a machine, there's no arguing that. So anyway, but let's not talk too much about that because, as you said, I think the better player won. And I think I might have said that Zverev was going to make the final, Sam, and lose in the final and get a little tight.
You did. I mean, look, that's a spot on call. You were all over it all week, but Alcaraz, I mean, the creativity, and he really does have an all-court game. You see him serving and volleying in big opportunities. You see him using the drop shot. He uses a high loopy, not to call it a moon ball, but uses that to get short balls. He redirects backhands down the line. He can do everything, and I feel like he's just got a little more variety in his game than really every other male player out there right now.
Yeah. It's phenomenal, particularly on clay. I guess how many is he going to win throughout his career? It's a little bit concerning with the injury that he had. He had the physio out a bunch. You could see that it was working on like his upper leg, groin area, and certainly for someone who slides the way he does on clay, there was a bit of a concern there. Were you a bit concerned that, is he going to be able to like physically get through this match?
I definitely was, especially with the history he's had with injuries over the past couple of years, but. Like you said, he had the physio out. They kind of worked on it, and it seemed to make or have zero effect on his game. He really only got better after that. So, hopefully now he's got a week to kind of take care of his body, recover. We'll see. I think he's probably scheduled to play Queens next. If he's not 100%, he can always take that week off, take the week off before Wimbledon, and have 3 weeks to get this body right. But all in all, his body held up well, and you see him move around. He's physical. He kind of moves around the court. The way that like Djokovic is physical with his movement, Carlos is physical with his movement. So, we want him healthy to watch him play at that high level.
Dude, the shot maybe of the tournament, the one-handed flicker. Now, as somebody like you who had a two-handed backhand, did you ever run over and hit a one-handed flick backhand cross-court? And virtually one of the biggest points of the match, and the look that Zverev gave him, like, whatever. And then you see him apologize because it clipped the net. I don't know if everybody saw that point, but it was literally one of the best shots I've ever seen. I screamed so loud in my apartment. It was ridiculous. And then he says, sorry, because it clipped the net. But then the next movement is, vamos. I was like, I loved it. That shot. Can you tell me, have you ever hit a shot like that?
No, I've never hit a shot. First of all, I can't even slide out to my left on clay, but I mean, for a guy he's got a two-hander like most of us, and he goes over it and flicks a one-handed back, passing shot cross court. And yes, it clipped the net, but even if it didn't clip the net, the fact that he hit it so cleanly and so solid at such a great angle, and I believe that was to give him a love 40.
Yeah, it gave him 3.
Huge, and just to hit
double
that
break was huge.
There's one thing hitting that in practice, but to hit it in the French Open in the final and like this big moment is even just more incredible. So that was. He had the momentum at the time, but that was kind of, what put him over the edge. And once he hit that, you're like, all right, this is his tournament at this point.
Yeah, I was just like, good luck. You can't beat the guy with one hand, and good luck. Youngest player at the age of 21 to won all the Grand Slams on different surfaces. He has not won the Australian Open yet, but it is a hard court. He's won the US Open on hard court. He's now won Wimbledon last year over 5 sets on grass. And now he's won the French Open. He is the youngest to do that. Look at the names on this list, Sam. I mean, are we talking about arguably the next? I mean, can he get to 20? What's the deal? Like, this guy's phenomenal.
It seems, if you go back 5 years, you're like, oh, will someone else get to 20? You'd be like, no, it's too difficult. It's too difficult. But now all of a sudden he's got 3 and he's 21 and he's got 3 on 3 different surfaces. So all that tells you is that at every slam for the next, he's 21. Let's say he plays till 35. So for the next 14 years, he's going to have the opportunity to win every Grand Slam he's in because he can do it. And so, yeah, he does have a chance to get to those, the 20 number, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I mean, when people were talking about those numbers, I was like, no way, no one's ever going to do that. This was the most freak, 2 or 3, 4, 3 players we've ever seen in Roger Rafa and Novak. But now we're starting to talk Carlos Alcaraz, Sinner. I don't know if Sinner's going to get to 20 just because he's not quite. Well, no, I don't even want to put him in not quite as versatile.
He's got to get to 2 before we talk about getting to 20.
That's right. But the semifinal wasn't as, it was. Everyone was complaining it wasn't as great as the US Open and the matches. I mean, come on, give these guys a break. You can't be perfect every single time they play. But I'm so looking forward to Sinner and Alcaraz. I think Sinner's the favorite at Wimbledon, even though Carlos won it last year. He's definitely my favorite to win the US Open. Sinner, I just think the faster court helps him. And I think Wimbledon will be interesting to see if they play against each other. But thankfully, they'll be number 1 and number 2. But then you've got Novak, who's won it 7 times, who's hanging around as well. So I don't know, but we'll get to Wimbledon in a second. What's the impact you think of Juan Carlos Ferreira for Carlos? Because he wasn't in Australia. He tactically played a horrendous match against Zverev. Everybody's talked about it, including myself, that he played the backhand way too much in Australia. And then he's finally figured out, oh, that's right. The guy's got probably arguably the best backhand of the game. Why am I playing it there? But just the influence of having the coach there to remind him, to calm him down, and particularly one as experienced as Juan Carlos, who also won the French Open himself.
Right, it's massive. Like you said, Juan Carlos won the French Open. So just for Carlos Alcaraz, just being able to look up at that player in between points gives you a lot of confidence. And look, no one knows what Juan Carlos is doing with Carlos, behind the scenes, how he's coaching it. But whatever he's doing, it's amazing. He's done a phenomenal job these last, call it 4 or 5 years. And I'm more impressed not so much with the game that Alcaraz is playing, but just his mindset. He kind of is like Rafa. You don't see him get overly high or overly low. He's locked in every point. He just acts like a true champion, kind of like we saw Rafa do. And so that's what I'm most impressed with. Like whatever Juan Carlos is doing to get into the mind of Carlos Alcaraz is really impressive because Alcaraz is just locked in and acts like a champion at this young age of 21 every point.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, my last thing on Carlos is that he really is the mixture of all the 3 greats. He has the flexibility, that, outreached, open stance, backhand passing shot down the line. He has the creativity of a Roger Federer, with the fancy drop shots and the slice backhand. And he has that kind of bull mentality of Rafa and of course the Spanish personality. But he has kind of the quirkiness and smiling. Sometimes, Novak does the smile and then so he has a little bit of everyone in him. And I am so here for it. I cannot wait to watch him play the next 10, 15, hopefully years. He stays injury free.